Good morning. It is not my morning to be here today. I'm actually here, so surprise. I'm actually here to participate in that, just to be with you in the service. But given the events of yesterday and the fire at NCAR, I just wanted to just check in with everybody and let you know that as far as I know, well, I'm confident all of our people are safe. We had over a dozen people, families who evacuated, and I'm guessing about half of them are able to return home, and I know some of them are not returning home just yet because of smoke. And also, of course, this can be deeply triggering for anybody who evacuated even less than 3 months ago. So I wanted you to assure you that the fellowship is here for all of you. And if you do need pastoral support, whether you have just evacuated because of the fire or this new fire is just bringing all of that old trauma up, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, to reach out to our intern minister, Lisa Moore, or to reach out to our lay pastoral care associates coordinated by Mazia Chitara and Scott Nelson. So the fellowship is always here for you. And now I will go and just enjoy this beautiful service that Eric and Paul have created for you.
Good morning, and welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We are back to multi-platform services, and it's great to be doing this service from this beautiful new sanctuary that we're finally able to be in. I'm Paul Gibb, and I'm joined today by our service associate, Eric Williams, and Tad Corias and Claire Kelly, providing music, and our tech team, Dawn Price, Mary Stackpole, and Bill Beachley. Their behind-the-scenes support is what allows us to be together. And of course, you are what makes our beloved community. I always feel so great being up here because I don't have any stage fright when I'm in front of you all. So, as I say the welcome words today, I invite those of you on Zoom to shift into gallery mode if you haven't already done so, and scroll through the screen so you can experience the beauty of this congregation. Those in person, look around and see who you can recognize beneath their masks. You are all welcome here today in all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes, and sizes that come together in your uniqueness. You are welcome here. In all the ways you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. In all the ways you make your living, in all the places you are from, you are welcome here. With all the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here. No matter how long you are away or how soon you shall return, you are welcome here. And whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today. We commit ourselves to being a center for spiritual exploration and justice making, and to anti-racism and anti-oppression work within and beyond our congregation. Here's this week's pledge drive update. Are you ready? We have 141 pledges. 2/3 of our households have pledged. Yay! And we have pledged $375,961, which is 79% of the way to our goal of $472,000. That is quite amazing. And we still need the rest of you to pledge so we can continue to provide the beauty of services, spiritual growth opportunities, connection, and justice opportunities. Now more than ever, we are learning how much it matters that we join together to nourish, deepen, and connect. Your pledges are by far the largest portion of our income, and every pledge counts. If you are here today in person, you can pledge at the table in the back of the foyer. Those on Zoom can click on the pledge link in the chat. And now Scott Yeomans has a few words.
Yes, I am Scott Yeomans, and I am here today because I share in our collective vision of Unitarian Universalism, and especially how it's unfolding here in our fellowship. I came to UUism 22 years ago, looking for community and a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. I've been a member of 3 congregations now, and have been active on worship committees, led adult RE classes, served on shared ministry committees, and even boards. And I currently serve as your board president. Inspired by my faith, I've marched for marriage equality, protested the Iraq War, prayed at Standing Rock, and cleaned New England shoreline, where every year when we returned, we saw the greenery renewing each time, bursting forth from the ground below the muck, if you will. On your way to the fellowship this morning, did you happen to notice any signs of spring? Like snowdrops or purple crocuses. Spring is a reminder that no matter how difficult life has been, we can choose to say yes, we can choose to burst forth in a new future. In our fellowship, we say yes too, innovating and evolving in order to serve and love more boldly. For example, in addition to navigating the challenges of a new building and of COVID, we formed our own justice, equity, diversity, and inclusivity team, and we are including them in key decisions and in key meetings every month here at the fellowship. We also help seed the Mountaintop BIPOC community for UUs, helping to fund their full-time minister. And we continue to support the Longmont UU Presence, which is beginning a new period of its own renewal with a new building in Longmont, or new space, really. We are not a fellowship that stands still and hibernates. We are not one to ignore challenges. We are a congregation that says yes. And so, just as we see the growth and renewal of spring, I invite you to say yes to our annual pledge drive. As you recently heard, we have received a lot of generous contributions, and we still need to hear from more of you. These aren't arbitrary dollars. They pay for our ministers, religious educators, musicians, and administrative staff. The dollars are light and heat and the space both within and without the building. They are the music we sing that soothes. They support us as we serve and love more boldly. Thank you.
If you're new here, we're glad you found us, and we hope that in this community you can experience the warmth and love of this congregation. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. We have many opportunities during the week for social connection and spiritual growth. Those on Zoom can check out the links in the chat to help you get connected. Those in person can stop by the welcome table in our foyer to help you get connected. Please do not connect to Zoom on your devices if you are in the building. This can cause technical problems. Finally, if any new visitors on Zoom would like to introduce yourselves in the chat, please do. We'd love to know who is among us. Are there any visitors in the sanctuary today who'd like to introduce yourselves by telling us your name and where you live? Eric will come to you with a microphone. If you are in the fellowship hall, please come briefly into the sanctuary and introduce yourself. This is totally optional. All on Zoom are invited to the virtual coffee hour after the service. Those in the building are welcome to stay and chat, being mindful of physical distancing. We aren't yet offering coffee hour due to COVID protocols, but we will start next month.
So when you hold it like a rock star, not a ice cream cone.
Well, I'm Michelle Giovanelli, and I am a rock star. This is my second visit in person, but I've been on the Zoom a couple of times, and my kiddos are in the classrooms on the other side. So looking for just some place to experience spirituality and community, and looking forward to attending more services.
Welcome.
Oh, very good. Hi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Wong. This is my first service here. I'm with my friend Carla, who invited me, and I'm really just happy to be here. And my daughter, who's 3.5, she's also with the kiddos. And I live in Broomfield, so North Broomfield, so not too far away. Thank you.
If you have a chalice at home, you can light it with us, as Eric lights our fellowship chalice. So we know all our chalices are. Please write in the chat, chalice lit and the name of your town. Please say the words along with me as Eric lights our chalice. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. And now I'll sing our bowl again, inviting it to draw you deeper into the present moment and this, our beloved community.
Our opening words today are from Ralph Waldo Emerson by way of Emily Coriath, who sang them last Saturday night here in this sanctuary in a song by Elizabeth Alexander. They're a reworking of Emerson's essay on the Oversoul. It comes to the lowly. It comes to the simple. It comes to whomever will put off what is foreign and proud. It comes as insight. It comes as serenity. It comes as grandeur. Within us, the soul of the whole. Within us, the wise silence. Within us, the universal beauty, to which every part and particle is equally related, the eternal one. When it breathes through our intellect, it is genius. When it breathes through our will, it is virtue. When it flows through our affections, it is love. Forever and ever, forever and ever, there is no ceiling between our heads and the infinite heavens. Within us, the soul of the whole. Within us, the universal beauty, the eternal one. The soul of the whole. I believe that is the source of the intuition, creativity, and unconscious knowledge that we will be exploring this morning. Join us as we try to examine that which cannot be seen, only fleetingly sensed at the thin places in our lives, or perhaps only dreamed.
Wow. I'm kind of overcome because we get to actually make music together today. It's not a solo anymore, baby. We're doing it together. And that just like warms up my soul, and I hope it feels good to you too. We're actually gonna sing a round, which we haven't also done in forever. So this is number 1011, Return Again. And here's the quick and easy roadmap. So Tad and I are gonna kind of split the congregation here. So you guys are my half and that's Tad's half. We're gonna sing through the whole hymn once, taking all the repeats, okay? Then we're gonna start singing it again, and then you'll just follow me. And then whenever Tad comes in, you guys will follow Tad. It'll be super easy. If your body and your soul allow you to rise, you should do that. Did you grab our note already?
I didn't give us a pitch. How about this one?
We'll start on that one. All right. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again. Return again. Return to the home of your soul. Return again. Return again. Return to the home of your soul. Born and reborn again. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again. Return again. Return to the home of your soul. Born again. You guys did it. Great job.
Good job.
That was cool. One of the most poignant lyrics I know is Joni Mitchell singing, "Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate away on." That lonely line inspires me to say, my friends, we are all skaters on a river deeper than our deepest dreams. It is wider than our collective subconscious and both faster and slower than time itself. It is a river of love, a river of creativity, a river of grace flowing through all life. As we heard in the opening words, Ralph Waldo Emerson called it the oversoul. He wrote, "We see the world piece by piece as the sun, the moon, the animal, the tree, but the whole, of which these are the shining parts, is the soul of the whole. There's so much of life we can't usually perceive with our five senses. Even if we have the vision of an eagle, the hearing of a bat, and the sense of smell of a bloodhound, we still wouldn't be able to easily perceive this river, this oversoul. But if we get quiet, if we find a thin place between our conscious lives and this ineffable, inexpressible, perpetual flow, we can touch it and it us with the sixth sense of intuition. In that moment, we are not trapped within our five senses. We can feel the river as part of us. And in that moment, we are eternal. Eternal for a few moments is eternal before the veil drops again. From this deepest river comes the best of us: creativity, courage, compassion, generosity, love. It is ever-changing. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus said, "No person ever steps into the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and they are not the same person." So it is true of this greatest river, this river of spirit, always flowing, always changing. How do we sense it? Anytime we experience the transcendent, that which has no rational explanation, we are there. Great artists may have found a way to live on the river's banks, freely drawing inspiration from it, and their works can create thin places for us to feel the river too, as in a poem of loss, sorrow, love, or hope, a great painting that transports us, piano and voice blending together into a transcendent experience, architectural lines and materials combining to make the sacred space of this sanctuary a thin place indeed, very thin this morning. Here's a poem that might show us a glimpse of this ineffable source in our lives. It's by Nobel and Pulitzer Prize-winning Louise Gluck. It's called Hawk's Shadow. I gotta get this right. Embracing in the road, for some reason I no longer remember, then drawing apart, seeing a shape ahead. How close was it? We looked up to where the hawk hovered with its kill. I watched them veering towards West Hill, casting their one shadow in the dirt, the all-inclusive shape of the predator. Then they disappeared. And I thought, one shadow, like the one we made, you holding me. It seems like Louise Gluck lives on the banks of this river, Spirit River, and her work can bring us there too, like here, where she compares the single shadow of a predator and its prey with the single shadow of two lovers embracing. That's deep to me. This is what electrifies me about great art. If we are ready, it can help us sense this deeper part of life. It can bring us to the river, Spirit River, Spirit Sky, Spirit Wind. D.H. Lawrence wrote in A Song of a Man Who Has Come Through, not I, but the wind that blows through me. May it blow through us when we seek inspiration. River, sky, wind, rain. Trees, birds, creatures of every sort, moss, lichen, grasses, every blooming thing, all a part of the soul of the whole. As are we, eternal as long as life exists anywhere. And so it is that we carry all life within us, and all life carries us. Namaste. Like that. Each week we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives in this community by giving half our plate away to those organizations that share our values. Today, the half plate is again for Together Colorado. In partnership with the fellowship's Boulder Valley Community Action Network, or BVCAN, Together Colorado is currently working on state bills that will reform policing and help mobile home residents. In addition, they're working in Boulder County to route federal COVID recovery funds to the affordable housing and mental health care. A very worthy cause indeed. Please give generously, as you so often do. As our musical reflection begins, we invite you to think about the following question. Is there something you have learned from your dreams and intuitions? Those on Zoom can feel free to write their responses in the chat. For the work of this fellowship, bringing love, reason, compassion, and justice to this world, and to Together Colorado, we dedicate these offerings.
Is there something inside us that we all too often fail to acknowledge? Something that occupies a pretty large portion of our brain and is a big factor in shaping our personality and our behavior. To quote Reverend Jeremy Taylor, the famous Unitarian Universalist dream worker, quote, "When we look at the history of creative ideas and discoveries that have shaped our world, we discover that an astonishingly large number of them were born as inspirations in dreams. Descartes formulated the basic tenets of rationalism. Elias Howe invented the sewing machine. And Albert Einstein articulated the theory of universal relativity, first in dreams. To mention only three famous and important examples. Dreaming is a doorway open to all, leading to the vast, unexplored possibilities of human creativity. And each of us needs to make use of this human resource if we are to have any hope of solving our pressing individual and collective problems." End of quote. Jeremy goes on to mention how Mozart and Beethoven, among other composers, got much of their inspiration from dreams, dreams which they remembered long enough to transcribe the notes they heard. And poets like Coleridge created some very long poems inspired by dreams. My own dreams have not led me to any great inventions, scientific discoveries, symphonies, concertos, or poems, at least not yet anyway. But they have awakened me to a whole part of myself that growing up in middle-class American culture never helped me discover. In the late 1980s, Jeremy Taylor, whom I just quoted, came to my UU congregation and led a dream workshop, which opened up a lot of doors for me. And Mary and I, along with three other couples, started monthly dream group meetings. We would each keep a logbook in which we wrote down in the morning whatever dreams we remembered from the previous night. At our meetings, we would each read one of those dreams, and then each other person would give their impression of what the dream might mean. They would preface their comments with the phrase, "If it were my dream, it might mean ... And when someone said something that resonated, the dreamer would say, "Ah, yes, I have an aha about that." The end result was that even those dreams that seemed most far off and most weird turned out to have some kind of an important message for us, often on more than one level. As Jeremy puts it, each dream speaks a universal language of metaphor and symbol, and also that dreams, even horrible nightmares, quote, "come in the service of health and wholeness," unquote. The horrible nightmares are simply warnings of something we need to avoid. If any of you would like to read some books about the interpretation of dreams, I've asked for the titles of some of Reverend Taylor's works to be included in the chat. Back in the early 2000s, I had the privilege of driving Jeremy Taylor back to the airport at the close of a 5-day dream workshop. I told him about all the prophetic dreams I had had, all the times I dreamed about someone I hadn't seen in years, and to my great amazement, that person would show up that very day, unexpectedly. I also asked about the prophetic intuitions I have had, all the many times, for example, I had a sudden urge to walk down a less direct aisle on my way to the checkout counter of a store, and to my great amazement, someone I knew and cared about was standing in that aisle. How, I asked, could my unconscious mind possibly know the future? He replied that his theory was that time is to a certain extent illusory, that we have to live within a framework of time to keep from tripping over our feet, trying to live in the past, present, and future simultaneously. But our unconscious minds can actually look into the future, at least to a certain extent. I would like to share with you today my own experience of a prophetic dream that changed my life and that I will never be able to forget. It happened on February 17th, 1999, a day I will never forget as long as I live. It happened in the parking lot of the 7-Eleven convenience store at the corner of Folsom and Valmont in Boulder. I call it the miracle at the 7-Eleven. Some of you may have heard this 10 years ago when it was part of a different sermon I gave here at the ship. I woke up that morning in 1999 from a dream in which I ran over somebody with my vehicle. A dream like I'd never had before and have never had since, as far as I can remember. Because of the dream, I was haunted by a strange feeling all that day that I needed to be especially careful. At every intersection and crosswalk, I looked twice for pedestrians and cyclists. Every time I changed lanes, I looked in the mirror 2 or 3 times. I had an unshakable sense that something terrible would happen if I didn't watch out. After purchasing a snack at the 7-Eleven, I got back in my van, turned on the ignition, and put the shift lever into reverse. I looked in all 3 rearview mirrors multiple times and was about to lift my foot off the brake and put it on the accelerator when suddenly my wife Mary called me on my cell phone. The funny thing is, she could not remember why she had called me. She had no idea. Now, normally I would have put Mary on the speakerphone and continued backing up. But on this particular day, I remembered my dream, and I put the shift lever back into park. At the exact instant that a woman came running out of the 7-Eleven with a horrified look on her face. She ran around behind my van and picked up her little toddler who was standing right behind my rear bumper. My voice of reason, of course, tells me I should not ascribe this to anything but wonderful luck. And my voice of reason points out that since Mary and I ran a business together, it's quite likely she should call me 2 or 3 times a day. But what are the odds that she would call me at that exact second? There are 28,800 seconds in an 8-hour workday. If she called me 3 times a day, then the odds of getting a call from her during any one particular second are about 1 in 10,000. And what about the odds of my having that dream that morning? Dream like I've never had any other day of my life. Well, I've lived for over 27,000 days. So the odds of such a dream coming on the one and only day that I almost ran over somebody would be 1 in 27,000. The odds of both of those things happening the same day, and one of them at the exact second, would be 1 in many, many millions. In other words, there was only one chance in many, many millions that I would have been stopped from running over that little girl. And that chance happened. But if it's true that we can have prophetic dreams and intuitions that save us from disasters, why then did not the passengers of the Titanic have them and thus decide not to get aboard? Is it because they never had a workshop with Jeremy Taylor? Or is it because they ignored any such dreams and intuitions because you were told so many times that dreams were unreliable and that the Titanic was unsinkable? Or for that matter, they may have tried to follow their dream or intuition and not succeeded. I almost failed to follow my prophetic dream that day at the 7-Eleven. Even though my dream caused me to be extremely careful, I would nevertheless very still likely have backed over that little girl if it weren't for Mary's perfectly timed intuition to call me. So it'd be a terrible mistake to think that dreams will always prevent disasters, even when we try to follow them very carefully. They simply are there to head us more or less in the right direction. It's up to us to go from there. But not totally abandon our rationality, of course. For example, soon after this experience, I installed a backup camera on my van just to be extra sure. Then too, there's always the problem that we might not always be able to distinguish real dreams or intuitions from imagined ones. For instance, I have something resembling a prophetic intuition every time I get on an airplane or set foot in the earthquake-prone state of California. Then, of course, there's always the question of whether our unconscious minds are communicating with some sort of transcendent deity. I'll leave that question for others. I have come to believe, largely because of my experiences, that our unconscious minds do communicate with something that at least partially transcends both time and space. May we all pay attention to our dreams and intuitions, knowing that no matter how scary or silly they may seem at first, they come in the service of health and wholeness, to quote Jeremy again. And best of all, they might even help us become more creative and happy, because we would no longer have to justify everything to our rational minds. Amen. Amen. Namaste. May it be so.
Well, we get to sing again. This is a little change of pace, so if this one feels weird, just follow me, but it's a beautiful hymn. It's number 92, Mysterious Presence, Source of All. If your body and soul are allowing you, you should rise, and let's make some music. Mysterious presence, source of all, the world without, the soul within, the font of life. Oh, hear our call and pour thy living waters in. Thou breathest in the rushing wind, thy spirit stirs in leaf and flower, nor wilt thou from the willing mind withhold thy light and love and power. Thy hand unseen to accents clear, awoke the psalmist's trembling lyre, and touched the lips of holy seer with flame from thine own altar fire. That touch divine again impart, still give the prophet's burning word, and vocal in each waiting heart, let living psalms of praise be heard.
And now I invite us into our time of community connection, our time of sacred sharing. If you're on Zoom and you'd like to share a joy or concern, please type it into the chat window, sending it to everyone, and let us know briefly what is in your heart today. I will read out loud what you share on my phone, and Paul will add a stone to our sacred waters on your behalf. Whoops, I'm sorry, I didn't take my mask off. There. Where was I? If you're in the sanctuary today, you can come up front, share your joy and concern using the microphone, and add a stone to the waters. Or you can add a stone in silence, of course. If you're in the fellowship hall today and you have something to share, you can come into the sanctuary and share using the microphone. If you need help with that, see a greeter. Wherever you are, please tell us your name and where you live. My friends, we open our hearts to the pain and the joys shared this morning. Deep concerns about cancer, the loss of loved ones, and joy, simple joys for this service, and gratitude for wonderful things that happened in our past. New fish. You know, here's the thing. When our hearts are breaking, when our hearts are heavy, when our hearts are bursting, we turn to this community to share. This is true intimacy, and it is something to cherish about this fellowship. May each of us know peace, safety, and joy. If not now, then over time. May we find the comfort we seek in each other's company. May it be so.
So here are some announcements. Coming in the month of April, coffee hour will resume on Sundays, outdoors when weather permits. Take your coffee or tea outside to sip and grab a snack too. We'll restart our Chat with the Minister tradition on April 3rd. Visitors and newcomers are invited to meet Reverend Lydia and learn more about Unitarian Universalism and BVUUF. We'll meet at the welcome table in the foyer just after the service ends and then go to the Mountain View room. A UU racial justice workshop entitled Strategies for Talking About Race will be held on April 23rd, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., hosted and led by Jen Simon, the Mountaintop Community Minister, and our own Victoria S. Gray. As we UUs continue to have conversations about race and equity in our congregations, we sometimes run into difficulties in our conversation caused by guilt, shame, defensiveness, or misunderstanding. Victoria Gray will lead us in learning communication strategies and guidelines for holding these conversations in constructive, shame-free, and educational ways. This practical workshop is highly recommended by BVUUF members who took part in a similar learning experience led by Victoria last year. It's not clear here. And also it says the workshop will take place via Zoom. Please register by April 20th. I believe in the chat is the link.
It's in the chat. Of course, we can't see that here.
There's a sign out in the foyer.
Great. And it's April 23rd, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
We have a beautiful new building, and this year, BVUUF leadership will be planning a weekend to celebrate and dedicate it. We are hoping to have a variety of events and celebrations and need your help. Please fill out the form now being linked in the Zoom chat to help us understand how you are excited to be part of this special time in our fellowship's journey. If you're here in person, please watch your email or Connections Weekly for the link.
Well, we get to sing one more song together. This is Blue Boat Home, number 1064, oldie but a goodie. And hey, this week coming up, y'all, is the Transgender Day of Remembrance and Visibility on Wednesday and Thursday. So keep our trans friends in your hearts this week, if you would. 1064, Blue Boat Home. Oh yes, and if you'd like to rise, and this calls for a little sway, if you like a sway. So.
And now we extinguish our chalice. Please say the words along with me. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Let us go forth with a heightened awareness of our dreams and intuitions, and with joy for the thin places in our lives that may bring us closer to the divine flowing through us all.